What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Marketing Seed Radio episode 99. What happens when you get bored with the game you're playing? This can have a lot of different meanings. I remember one of my friend's strategies growing up that I never agreed with, but I guess he had a point to it in a way, was he would play the game as often and for as long as he can, so he would burn himself out on purpose so he could move on to the next game to prevent boredom. And I was like, dude, that sounds stupid. It's like why would you do that? I mean, you're going to burn out, and he did. So I remember growing up, I was naturally good at a lot of things, or at least a couple of things, if not a lot of things, but I was also equally horrible at everything else. I remember struggling, and oftentimes I remember struggling more than succeeding, but I would be pulled into these games that were very difficult and challenging for me because they intrigued me. It really got my my intellectual and emotional juices flowing whenever I came up against a challenge that was difficult to overcome, but I could overcome it. And, granted, it wasn't hurting me in the process. But there was a catch to this. The things I was naturally good at actually very quickly began to bore me. And I remember coming in on a lot of days, and I used to tell my parents, I'm bored. And of course they would look at me real funny and they'd say, well, go do something then. What do you want me to do about it? And I was still pretty young, so I wasn't leaving the house or anything. And I was also an only child. So oftentimes I was making up my own adventures anyway with what I had. And so I remember one of my go-to strategies was this. And I feel like I still do this just in a different way to this day. I was still, I love to collect action figures among a wide variety of other things. Like my mom used to call me the collector because I'm just a completionist by nature. Like anytime there was a series of action figures, it's like I had to have them all. Like if I had one, I had them all, or I didn't want any. I've always been that way. And I spent days and weeks reading bios. Like I remember, Ronin Warrior action figures. I remember Batman action figures and stuff, and even battle trolls. And they would come, not the cute little trolls with the jewel on their chest that were naked, not those. The battle trolls, the ones with the earrings, the scars, the tattoos, the mohawks, those guys. And on all of them, they had these bios on the back. And they were probably like 2 or 3 paragraphs long. Like it was a lot. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I remember it was fairly young. And I remember I used to look at those bios and read them and memorize them line by line by line by line. And I would, whenever I would go out and play, I would be like that. I had that story in my head. This is who I am. And, it allowed me to live my ultimate adventure back then. And I'd also read all sorts of video game strategy guides because I wanted to learn how to do all the cool moves. Mortal Kombat comes to mind. I remember the first magazine that I got, related to video games was the tips and tricks, and it had how to do Scorpion Spear and Sub-Zero's Ice Ball and all this other stuff. And up until that point, I'd just been a button masher, but now I could actually read the constructions, if you will. I know that's the wrong word. It's just an inside joke between friends and family, really, on this. But I read these strategy guides because I was trying to, back then as a kid, unlock the secrets of being like those heroes I looked up to just in real life. And the stories of my action figures and the other assorted heroes made the adventure really come to life. And you would think that an only child with almost no friends would be doomed to a lifetime of boredom. But, and I will admit, it's kind of difficult to make Brits without clay, as Sherlock Holmes would say, one of my favorite heroes as well. And growing up, I didn't have too many friends, but I always like craved a team. I always wanted to be an equal and a part of a superhero team. So, uh, at an early age, I feel like I had discovered a secret that would continue to serve me to this day and the rest of my days to come throughout all of that. And that is simply this: it's like life is your adventure to create. It's not a sentence to serve in the agony of reaction of what everybody says you should be doing or could be doing, or whatever your environment is demanding out of you. Just realize that it's your adventure to create. And as I've grown also, I realize that you're not bored, you're just boring. Coming from a boring person at certain points in my life, being a person that refused to take action because of this reason or that reason, or because I was scared, or because I was um, afraid that what few friends I have might judge me or something like that. And also, even the skills that you naturally possess constantly need to be refined and sharpened, because when you do that, you level up, and leveling up kills boredom. And leveling up just means the game changed. So you're no longer playing the same game anymore. It's up to you to adapt and overcome. So today, I want you to go out there and create your own adventure. Be great today. And remember, you're just one upgrade away.